Welcome to this video on using RGuroo to generate numerical summaries. Let's begin. In order to use RGuroo, we actually have to open RGuroo. So you can do this in a few different ways. If you are in Brightspace and click on Content, you can then click on RGuroo and then click on the tab that says RGuroo, and it should open for you. If that doesn't work, and we're going to click on Open a New Window. Okay, if that doesn't work, it doesn't look like it's working here. The other thing that you can do is you can type in rguroo.com in any tab of your web browser and press enter. Once you do that, notice that you can't do anything until you sign in. So you're going to have to click on sign in and type in your username and password. So you might be working on a personal computer that saves all of your usernames and passwords. However, it's very, very, very important that with RGuroo, you always know your username and password, because when you take a test in this class, you're going to be using a school computer that doesn't have your username and your password saved. So once you log into RGuroo, you should have a screen that looks like this. So we can't do anything until we have some data. So what I've done is I've just taken the liberty of just typing in some really basic data. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I just typed in 5 numbers. So what we want to do is we want to do a numerical analysis on this piece of data that I just made up. Okay, so RGuroo doesn't let you do anything with anything until you save it. Okay, so let's just call this 5 numbers because that's what it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you can change it or you can leave it as the default, it doesn't matter. And then we're going to hit this Save As button. Again, until you save the document, you're not going to be able to find this data set, and therefore you're not going to be able to do anything with it. So if you look over here, we have a bunch of options. We have data, plots, analytics, probability simulation, and applets calculators. So I'm going to click on the analytics drop-down menu, and then I'm going to click on this drop-down menu. And I'm going to go all the way down towards the bottom where this is a sigma, this little sign here. Kind of looks like an E, but it's a sigma. And it says numerical summaries. So we're going to click on that. So now I have this screen. The first thing that it wants to know is it wants to know what data set do I want to use. So remember, I just named this data set 5 numbers. So I have to select that data set. Again, until I tell it what data set to use, it's not going to do anything. And until I save the data set, it's not going to do anything. So this data set only has one column of data. So I only have one option here, which is variable 1. The VAR stands for variable. So nothing is selected right now. So what I have to do is I have to use this right arrow to move it over to my selected area. So now I've told RGuroo what data set I wanted it to use. And just in case my data set has more than one column of data, which it doesn't, but if it did, I've told it which column I want to do. Okay, so since I only have one column of data, I'm going to do univariate, meaning I have one variable. So I'm going to click on univariate data, and then now, right, I have this nice, wonderful menu, and I can click on all or some or just one of these things. So let's just read through these options and make sure we understand them. Sum, that means I'm going to add all the numbers together. Mean, right, that's finding the arithmetic mean. So then remember, we have minimum, Q1, median, Q3, and max. That's our 5-number summary. And then we also have mode. So I'm going to check all the ones that we've actually used in class so far. We've also used the range in class and the IQR. Remember, IQR is Q3 minus Q1. We've also talked about population and sample variance, population and sample standard deviation. And I believe, thus far, those are the only values that you will have used or that you might need to use up through chapter 4. Okay, so again, you could check any of the other ones, but those are the ones that you might need in order to complete a homework assignment or a question on a quiz or a test. So anytime you want to actually see these results, we have to click on this little eye icon right here. So if I click on that, it generates everything. Okay, so it gives me the mean, the minimum, Q1, median, Q3, maximum. And the reason it's multiple rows is just it ran out of room. Okay, so this is all variable 1. Then it gives me the mode. Okay, notice it says NaN. Well, what does that mean? That means that there isn't a mode, right? There is not any number that occurs more frequently than any other number, so there is no mode. Range, IQR, population variance, sample variance, population standard deviation, sample standard deviation. Okay, so just FYI, you're never going to do population and sample variance on the same data set. You're either going to do population or sample, just depending on how the problem is asking you to treat it. So the problem will either say, calculate the population variance and the population standard deviation, or it will ask you to calculate the sample variance and the sample standard deviation. Okay, so really quickly, if we look up here, so there's little tabs, just like you would have in a web browser. So if I wanted to get back to my data set, I could click back on this tab. And if I want to go back to the results, I can click on this tab. And then if I wanted to go back to the options, so let's pretend that there was some value that I wanted to get rid of or add, right? So I can click on basics, and that takes me back to the menu that I used to generate this. And then if I click on univariate, again, maybe this is too much information and I feel overwhelmed, so I can deselect some of these values, okay? And then I hit this again, okay? And then it will update this window.